Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, welcome back to another video. And in today's video I'm gonna be reading The Trials of Apollo from Rick Riordan. This is the Hidden Oracle, which is the first book of the series, and this is gonna be reading log, so we're just gonna be reading this book together. I have actually already read like 150 pages, but it was multiple months ago and I forgot to finish it because I had exams and then stuff and then exams and then stuff. So yeah, and it looks so beaten up because I would always carry this with me in hopes that I'm gonna finish reading it, and then I didn't. So we're gonna do it, and it's not because it was bad. It was actually really fun. But you know, when I'm overwhelmed, I don't want to read a book that I will enjoy because me being overwhelmed will kind of ruin my experience of that book, if that makes sense. So we're going to be reading this one today, and I'm so excited to read this entire series with you because I've read Percy Jackson when I was like in middle school, and then Heroes of Olympus when I was in high school. So it's been like 6-7 years ago when I finished them, and I knew about the Trials of Apollo for a couple of years, but I was waiting for them to finish, or like for Rick to finish the series, and then I kind of forgot that it exists. But I reread Percy Jackson and Heroes of Olympus multiple times. More Heroes of Olympus because I just love the fact that they're a little bit older and it's more my taste, but also Percy Jackson is incredible. Anyways, so we're gonna be reading this. I hope you're gonna enjoy that. This is my third video, like book type video on this channel, and I do want to grow my channel in this direction as well as bullet journaling, which is what you're also gonna see here. I really hope you're gonna enjoy these. Please let me know if you've read this series or anything from Rick Riordan. I also have the Wrath of the Triple Goddess, I think that's how it's called, over there in my bookshelf. So that's also something that we're gonna read eventually because I got that as a gift and I want to know what that's about. And a book that I'm reading just on my own, but it's also mythology thing because I just love stuff like that, is the Mythos from Stephen Fry, and this one is amazing. I've read like 20 pages of this book already, and it feels amazing, and I really like it. So anyways, yeah, that's what we're gonna be doing. Please subscribe if you like this video or if you want to see more of book related content. And I finally got the Heated Rivalry and The Long Game books from Rachel Reed, so we will also read that, and I can't wait, but I want to finish this book first. So we're gonna start from the start because I don't fully remember what was there, and I just want to, refresh my memory. I do remember that each chapter started like haiku. I hope that that's how you pronounce it, which is like the little small like short poem that has a specific way that it's supposed to be written. So yeah, that's what I remember from this. And I remember Apollo struggling with his teenage body. That's all I remember. To the Muse Calliope, this is long overdue, please don't hurt me. I don't remember actually what happened between these two, and I don't think I actually went and found that out when I first read this part, so I still don't know. Please let me know down below because I don't know every single ancient myth. To be honest, I love the fact that I love when books have maps. Can I just say that? Like, and do I ever actually like go back to like look at the map while I'm reading? No, but I still, if a book has a map, I'm gonna buy it and I'm gonna read it. This is so fun. And then did we have that in the previous books? Because I don't remember that. Also, some of the books I read as PDF, so maybe I just didn't have like the full version. Yeah, I loved the introduction in the first chapter. Like, my name is Apollo, I used to be a god. In my 4,612 years, I have done many things. I inflicted a plague on the Greeks who besieged Troy. I blessed Babe Ruth with the 3 home runs in Game 4 of the 1926 World Series. I visited my wrath upon Britney Spears and the 2007 MTV Video Music Awards. But in all my immortal life, I never before crash landed in a dumpster. I just love how unserious Rick is when he writes, and just the way he structures information. I don't know, there's something about his brain that I really enjoy, and it works for me. Maybe I am a little bit on the spectrum. There's just something that works for me. Also, like how quick it is to read his books, even the ones that are really long. Like I know that one of the Heroes of Olympus books is like 500 pages long, and you can read it in a day without like having to read all day. It's just really fast paced, and even though there is dialogue, like it's just, and there's also a lot of like internal monologues and descriptions and stuff like that. Like it's still really fast paced. He knows how to work with the like drama of it all. And I also I don't know what Rick's relationship with Zeus is, like how he interprets him, but in every single book it kind of seems like whatever the villain is in that book, like the main villain, somehow it's always tied to Zeus in a way. Like he always kind of comes up as the villain. At least that's how I interpret it. I will never understand how immortals tolerate it. You live your entire life trapped in a sack of meat, unable to enjoy simple pleasures like changing into a hummingbird or dissolving into pure light. And now, heaven help me, I was one of you, just another meat sack. He's so douchey, but I guess it's explainable because he never lived amongst humans, so yeah, he's just like a spoiled kid. Lester Papadopoulos. That's a beautiful name, by the way. I don't even know if I pronounced it that right, but it's a beautiful name. Oh yeah, I remember this. So he had kind of like a run-in with some street kid, like kind of bullies, and then he met Meg, I think that's her name, which she's a kid of the meat. No, I don't remember who's her parent, but she did the thing with the like crops, right? Or was it somebody else? I need to reread it. It's like genuinely I don't remember. Now I just realized with the haikus that Percy Jackson had really fun titles for each chapter, if I remember that correctly. Like it was really really exciting. And I didn't even know if Heroes of Olympus had that. I think it had just, because it was from different point of views, I think it had just the like the name of the narrator. Or like the POV. But I don't think the chapters had any names. So this is fun that we have a little poem with everything. Yeah, a girl from nowhere completes my embarrassment, stupid bananas. By the way, I finished the TV show, Percy Jackson, the second series. Can't wait for season 2. Like I can't wait for season 3. Like that's gonna be, I just love it. And the thing is, it's been a while since I read Percy Jackson, so if there are any inconsistencies with the plot, or like, I think the main plot stayed the same, maybe they changed little details, but honestly, I'm not like, like I'm not a fanatic. So for me, if there's little changes, I probably would not even notice, and even if I did, like there's creative freedom when you are a director. So I'm completely fine by that, and I love that. Let me know if you would want me to like react to that. It's not gonna be first time for me since I already saw that, but maybe we could watch a third season together. That could be fun because I think I don't know if it's coming out later this year or beginning of next year, but I think it could be later this year, if I remember that correctly. Also, Meg kind of reminds me young Clarice, and a little bit. I don't know if I'm just imagining that. Also, it's fun to get like because normally we're used to seeing this world from Percy's view or like Percy's friend's view, and he's always part of the story. But now, and I've heard that he makes an appearance once in a while, like in the Trials of Apollo, but he's not really, he's not a main event, unlike the previous series. And it kind of feels like passing, like it kind of feels like letting the new generations in, because he, especially in Heroes of Olympus, like it was kind of dawning on him how, not that he wouldn't want to be part of this world anymore, but he just needs to step back a little bit and be more like a voice of reason or a mentor, not in the front lines. And yeah, it's interesting, and I can't wait to actually read more on how people see Percy, like especially people who don't interact with him all that often. And also I want to see Apollo kind of describe the other demigods in a way that he sees them, because it always makes me intrigued how the author will take that, since there's so many characters in this world and so many little plots there. And I really don't know how Rick keeps up with this, because there's so many characters that he created. Apollo's vanity is truly something. Where was it? My cheeks were covered with some sort of rash that looked suspiciously like my heart climbed into my throat. Horrors, I cried. Is that acne? Immortal gods do not get acne. It is one of our inalien, I don't know what that word is. Right, I leaned closer to the glass and saw that my skin was indeed a scarred landscape of whiteheads and pustules. Oh, and then I lifted my shirt. My midriff was covered with floral patterns of bruises from my fall into the dumpster and my subsequent kicking, but even worse, I had flap. Where are my 8-pack abs? I always had 8-pack abs. And then like the fact that Meg doesn't care about that. He's truly himself, you know? He's his own person. By the way, if I pronounce something wrong, just keep in mind that I'm not English speaker, like this is not my first language. So that's that. After all I had done for Percy Jackson, I expected delight upon my arrival, a tearful welcome. A few burnt offerings and a small festival in my honor would not have been inappropriate. Instead, the young man swung open the apartment door and said, "Why?" If I didn't know how much Percy Jackson adored me, I would have sworn he was about to punch me in the already broken nose. I like how Rick is always playing with the perspectives. Like when the Percy Jackson series came out, it was kind of like also a commentary on how the adult world is seen by like younger people, right? Adolescents. And this is that, but also from the like spoiled girl point of view, and looking at the humanity and kind of how we live and how we act. And it really makes you kind of think about the differences. And his characters always, to me, feel real. Like the way they act, it makes sense, it's consistent. And that must be really hard to do. Oh, Sally. I love Sally. Sally Jackson possessed just the right combination of compassion, strength, and beauty. She was one of those rare mortal women who could connect spiritually with a god as an equal, to be neither terrified of us nor greedy for what we can offer, but to provide us with true companionship. She's just the best. Zeus had held me responsible for Octavian's delusions of grandeur. Zeus seemed to consider egotism a trait a boy had inherited from me, which is ridiculous. I am much too self-aware to be egotistical. Also, there's a time jump. I forgot about that because the war at the end of Hero for Olympus had ended in August, as Percy's saying, but now it's January, so it's a couple of months. And I know that Apollo has lost some of his memories, and I don't know if he's been in some kind of like limbo before he was brought back as a teenager. Because I don't think I got far enough into this book to actually know what happened to him in those couple of months, but I completely forgot that there's a time jump. And it also makes sense why Percy would kind of be like surprised and maybe a little bit nostalgic, because it's been a couple of months where he's probably had like a normal-ish life. And then Percy saying, I hate memory gaps. Last year I lost an entire semester thanks to Hera. Yeah, she does that. And I guess it makes sense for Rick to do these time jumps because his world is so large, and if everything happened chronologically, he wouldn't have like the backgrounds to... He wouldn't be able to describe all the backgrounds in every single book, but because there's time jumps, or like Percy losing a memory and like, you know, putting him to sleep and stuff like that, then you can get a little bit of snippets from other characters, like what happened, because otherwise everything happens like linearly, like in a chronological line, and you would just add new characters. The line would just keep continuing, so you wouldn't really need a background, which could be a little bit, I don't know, I guess when you really want to have a new problem in each series or in each book, you need a little bit of a time difference because it can't all be happening all the time. What is strange, that I just realized that like very recently, because obviously the Camp Half-Blood is mainly in function throughout summer. Some people are like all year round campers, but the major battles and everything happens in the summer, which is kind of strange that all the monsters would plan the attacks for when all the demigods are at the camp and they can actually guard the place. Wouldn't you attack in like winter where there's just like a couple of campers there? It just doesn't really... It's very convenient. That's one thing I've realized very recently, that keeps happening in Rick's books. But yeah, so these time jumps help with the narrative and with the kind of structure of the story, to have something to like kind of... something that poses a new problem because of that. Oh, right, I get it, because Calliope is one of the muses or something. I was wondering what the dedication was for, but yeah, she's the muse of like writing or something like that. Poet, something. That makes sense. Yeah, that's why you would dedicate her the book, of course. I just love these little inside jokes. I see. In truth, I didn't see. I wanted to get back to talking about my problems. I was impatient with Percy for turning this conversation to himself. Sadly, I have found this sort of self-centeredness common amongst demigods. Really? Just demigods? I feel like because now Apollo is kind of thinking about Meg and how she resembles someone from his past that he loved, and I think their relationship was heading, because as I said, I was around like page 150 when I stopped reading this. I think his kind of role or his relationship to Meg will be kind of like an older brother, someone who, or like, I think he'll see her as somewhat of a sibling that he needs to protect, or maybe kind of like his daughter in a way. And I think that's gonna be because in the beginning, when they met, he first thought that that's Artemis, and then obviously he realized that it's not. So I think they are gonna have that kind of relationship. And I think that's where it was heading when I last read the book. I love the Catch-22 reference because Apollo wants to go on a quest to like reclaim the Oracle of Delphi, and Percy's saying to go on a quest, we need a purposey, right? Those are the rules. If there's no Oracle, there are no purposey, so we're stuck in a... And yeah, that's... I wonder if it's just the Oracle. Obviously, the Trials of Apollo, Hidden Oracle, like I get that that's gonna be the quest, but I wonder what the threat is and what those shiny blobs are that they keep talking about, and if it's truly Zeus, because I think it was supposed to be someone else. Like, I think that's where I've gotten in the book, but I don't think we know who that is, like who's the threat. Yeah, I don't remember, because is there anyone else who can see the future? There was the, how is the king called? From Heroes of Olympus, when Frank and Percy were on a quest with like Ella. I can't remember his name right now. It's the only one that can see the future, right? Okay, so we're getting closer to the camp. Plague spirits can be killed. That's an amazing thing to encounter, isn't it? And Percy saying, you know, I keep thinking I have now killed every single thing in Greek mythology, but the list never seems to end. You haven't killed me yet, I noted. Don't tempt me. Oh yeah, I remember this part. I think Mac summons the Carpoi, is that how they're called? And it helps them. I wonder who the one woman is he keeps talking about, his lover, because I can't remember. I mean, Apollo had so many lovers. They said that there's some kind of guardian of Max, and I guess that is connected to who's Apollo talking about, like the lover, maybe. I'm not completely sure. This is complicated. And like, I know so much about Greek mythology, but still there's so many things to learn. And like, even reading this book, there's so many new information that I never learned anywhere. Something with fire. Okay, I'm confused, but we're at camp finally. And yeah, he's gonna... Is the woman someone from Delphi, like some kind of oracle? Because I don't know if they had any names, to be completely honest with you. And we finally have Will. I can't wait to read the Sun and the Stars. Or how is it called? I wanna fly through the... Well, I obviously wanna enjoy them, but I wanna read the series as soon as I can, so that I can get into the Sun and the Stars. Okay, so I had to wait for my camera's battery to charge, so I actually went on and read a couple more chapters, and I'm just gonna kind of recap where we are. So what I really liked, let me find the page because I have written it down, is when we finally meet Nico, and obviously, like, he's not being very, like, not politically correct, but he straight up says Apollo that like he senses death from him, like that it's probably not gonna live for long enough. And obviously Will is just like, you know, I'm so sorry for my boyfriend. And Nico calls him significant annoyance instead of significant other. That's so him. And I hope one day, and this is probably never gonna happen, but since we have the Percy Jackson series, I really hope they're also gonna start filming Heroes of Olympus and etc., so that we actually get like everything, because I would love to get that, especially Will and Nico. Like, that would be amazing. Then what happens is we learn a little bit more about the Oracle of Delphi. Is that how we call it? I'm not completely sure. And how Apollo even like got that place, and how he battled. I don't know if it's called Python as the snake or if it's pronounced differently. I couldn't really find that, and I'm, you know, I don't suppose most of you know anyways. So that might be the threat that we're gonna have to deal with. And then also we're learning from Chiron that Kemper started to go missing. And a little bit later on, there's also there's a scene when like Meg talks about the Demeter's cabin, because she is daughter of Demeter. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, by the way. And there's like a sacred tree inside of the cabin, or like some kind of replica, and Apollo remembers something, and it is tied to the prophecy or like a dream that he saw. And what's interesting about Meg that we found out is that she has special swords, and they're actually Roman built, and she doesn't really want to talk about her parents, but she doesn't know who her mom is, so it's probably Demeter. But then her father gave her the swords, and they're Roman. So we don't really know what her parentage is like, and how she even like got to this point. So that's kind of where we are. And now I'm starting chapter 15. And what I really liked in chapter 15. So there was the three-legged death race, or how is it called? And Will and Apollo isn't really all that happy with the Ares like cabin head counselor, and he's kind of asking about Clarice, and she's actually attending college. And this little sentence: why does college have to happen to perfectly good people? And as someone who's currently in at uni, trying to like finish it in the next 2 years, or like a year and a bit, yeah, why does it happen? So that was like a really nice reality check that I wanted to mention. And yeah, so far we're kind of getting like Apollo's being introduced to Camp Half-Blood, and since there's only the winter campers, and a lot of them are not the ones that we know, like obviously we have Connor, Stoll, and Will, and people like that, but for or at least for me, most of these names I don't really remember. So there's also like new characters being introduced. Okay, so maybe Apollo has some kind of powers because he's been playing guitar, and apparently like it seems like it's affecting people, and now he's like really tired afterwards. So maybe there's something going on with him. And apparently they're trying to like see if he has any of his former gifts as a like demigod now. So archery doesn't work. And now Sherman is going to the woods, and we can Apollo is hearing the voice again, and we finally know who that is. It's Daphne, which was the nymph, right? It looks like Sherman is in some kind of trance or something, because he doesn't recognize people around him, and he's in some kind of like almost a dream. She was turned into Daphne, right? She was turned into some kind of tree or something. So is she the one who's like luring them into the woods, or? And Apollo seems to know what's happening, but yeah, he's being very elusive. Like, even though he's the narrator in this story, we don't know what he's thinking. Like, we know that he just figured it out, but he doesn't tell us, and we will only know once he tells it, once he explains that to some other character. At least that's how it's been so far. So the hidden oracle is actually some kind of like primordial force before the Oracle of Delphi. At least that's what Apollo thinks. And that death race is about to start. So I guess there's gonna be some kind of interesting obstacle. Okay, so somehow the labyrinth has transported them into the original like oracle location. From overhead came a hiss so loud it sounded as if the entire ocean had hit a frying pan and evaporated into a massive steam cloud. The lodge shook, pebbles rained down. Above, a monstrous body slid across the crevice, completely covering the opening. The smell of molding snakeskin seared my nostrils. Okay, so we're meeting Python. I feel like the haikus are even better than like just having a funny chapter names. Python had heard us. I prayed to all the gods that the monster would decide the noise was nothing. All he had to do was breathe down into the crevice and he would kill us. There was no escaping his poisonous belch, not for this distance, not for a mortal. Okay, I don't think I've ever heard about Python, so. But I know that the oracle, like all the priests or priestess and the chamber, I think even archaeologically there are found, the archaeologists found some kind of gas that was there, and that apparently that was supposed to, like all the fumes were supposed to make the priestess like hallucinate or something like that. So I guess that makes sense. And there's another person, Messier Beast, as Python calls him. Okay, so in the dream that Apollo had, the girl told him that he has to stop the man from like opening the gates or something like that. And they're talking about that. And they have someone in Camp Half-Blood that is supposed to help them get Apollo to do what they need. Okay, I didn't know that there's more oracles, and I don't know what the donut is. Let me actually find it. Oh, so that was another like oracle place. Oh, I didn't know about that actually. That's the first time I'm hearing about that. And since Apollo said it out loud, they actually know that they are there. At least they're in a maze, because now they fell into some kind of rubbish bin. And Mac knows this person. Oh god, this is getting complicated. So we know a little bit about the Beast guy because Mac knows him a little bit. He apparently snatches demigods from New York and trains them. And he killed Mac's father, who we don't know who that is. But she has met this person. And now I think we're in chapter like 16 or something. Can I find that? No, actually 20. I completely lost track of time. Rachel Elizabeth is here, so finally, but she seemed to be investigating some interesting things that she found when the war with Gaia ended. She noticed that there was some kind of buildings that the Romans owned in Manhattan, and she was wondering how they got the funds for it. And she found something, a company that's called Triumvirate Estate, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but it's the three rulers type of political thing that happened in Rome. I don't have the right words. Like, I know this, I know how to explain this in Czech, but not in English. Anyways, so apparently this company also funded Octavian's like attack on Camp Half-Blood, and also they founded Luke's like the Princess Andromeda and all these other expensive things that Luke was using in the first, like the Titan War. So this is all connected, which is just such a brilliant way how to like connect all the stories and make it just like one big thing. And even Python, or maybe Mr. Beast, when they were talking, they mentioned that they've already been waiting through the last two wars, so they need to be patient. Apollo's thought process here, or like what he is saying, a cold sense of unease gripped me. I felt I should know something about this, but my mortal brain was betraying me again. I was more certain than ever that Zeus was toying with me, keeping my visions and memory limited. I remembered some assurances Octavian had given me, though. How easy it would be to win this little war, to raise new temples to me, how much support he had. These men, I'm afraid they are not modern demigods. So yeah, they're probably like Roman demigods, right? If it's the triumvirate. And it's supposed to be someone that Apollo knows. And I got this feeling because when Python and the Beast were talking, the Beast says something about like burning. And now that we know that this is like Roman territory, I'm thinking about Nero. In ancient times, there were many oracles. Of course, Delphi was the most famous, but there were four others too, of comparable power. And I believe the most ancient oracle of all, the Grove of Dodona, is right here at Camp Half-Blood. Okay. Ooh, spooky. And I mean, we're 200 pages in, and this has less than 400 pages, right? Yeah, this is less than 400 pages because the last couple of pages are actually the first chapter of the second book, I just realized. Which I'm not gonna read because obviously it's gonna be in the next book. So yeah, we only have like 170 pages left or something like that. This is what we've already read. Like, I'm more than halfway done with this. Okay, so the one who controls the oracles pretty much controls the entire demigod world, and with that also kind of the gods. At least from what Apollo is saying. Meg is saying, aren't prophecies all twisted and mysterious and murky and people die trying to escape them? Meg, I said, you can't trust those reviews on readmyoracle.com. The hotness factor for the Sibyl of Cumae, for instance, is completely off. I remember that quite clearly. And the Grove of Dodona is supposed to be controlled by Rhea, like the mother of Titans, which is supposed to be like a positive force. But I don't understand how they're supposed to like contact her, or like why. I guess she would be helping since she helped in the first like Titans versus Gods war. She helped the gods. I'm kind of really scared that Meg is gonna be the antagonist, or like she's gonna be the one working for the Beast, because the only way how Apollo can save the camp is to find the oracle. But if he finds it, then somehow the Beast knows that he will know the location of the oracle, and since the only two people on the quest will be Apollo and Meg, that kind of means that Meg is one of the people who's gonna rattle him out, unless it's one of the campers who got lost. Hi guys, so it's the next day. I have read couple pages in the evening without you guys. So what has happened? Meg got abducted by like ant monsters, kind of thing. Apollo has 48 hours to save her, and he has sworn an oath to a gazier. And if you're thinking, what the fuck, I have the same reaction. I'm feeling the same way. So that's kind of where we are. That's what we're doing. And yeah, let's get going. And we're meeting Rhea, which also she's kind of like Iris in a sense that she's like very hippie and all that. Also, she seems to be lost and like doesn't really remember stuff properly. So I don't know if she's supposed to be like a really old grandmother because she is Apollo's grandmother, right? Yeah, she's the mother of Zeus and Zeus's father. So yeah, she's his grandmother. So I don't know if she is supposed to be like like an older lady, but just a goddess, so she doesn't age. Yeah, she seems like she's mixing up names and doesn't really remember who is who. I was right. It's Nero. We just confirmed it. It's Nero. Yeah. I mean, not yeah, but like I was right. I had the feeling, so I'm very happy that I got that right. I poured out my guilt about Daphne's death. My boastfulness, envy, and desire had caused her destruction. When she ran from me, I should have let her go. Instead of I chased her relentlessly. I wanted her, and I intended to have her. Because of that, I have left Daphne no choice. To escape me, she sacrificed her life and turned into a tree, leaving my heart scarred forever. I begged Daphne's forgiveness. I think of Hyacinthus. The West Wind Zephyros had also loved him, but I refused to share even a moment of his time. In my jealousy, I threatened Zephyros. I dared him to interfere. I sang of the day Hyacinthus and I played discus in the field and how the west wind blew my disc, of course, right into the side of Hyacinthus's head. To keep Hyacinthus in the sunlight where he belonged, I created the flowers from his blood. I held Zephyros accountable, but my own petty greed had caused Hyacinthus's death. I poured out my sorrow. I took all the blame. Yeah, like I feel like he's finally realizing all his mistakes, and he is leaning more into his like human persona rather than his godly persona, if that makes sense. Because obviously they are like their personalities are very vast, right? Like they can be a god, they can be some kind of animal or a thought or human. Like ancient mythology is not very consistent with that, or it kind of allows the gods to be kind of whatever they want and whoever they want at certain times. I knew that Meg was the traitor. Of course it was her. Like who else? When there's no one else with him. Yeah, that made so much sense. The beast killed my father. This is Nero. He's my stepfather. I forgot how old is she supposed to be, but I think she's like an 8-year-old. So he manipulated her. And this is kind of like when you have domestic violence, like the violent person usually says that it's not them, but it's like their like different personality in a way. Like that's kind of how they usually justify their actions. And if I remember correctly, Rick used to be a teacher. Maybe he still is a teacher. So you do come in contact with a lot of that in your career. Like I'm a teacher as well. I'm a high school teacher, but still that's something that you always need to be aware of. And there's certain language um, that is connected to those type of behaviors or other like problematic behavior, right? Like if you have alcoholics as parents, or if there's some kind of hard situation like a terminal illness or something, like all of those things you need to be aware of
and to work with and around that as teachers. And yeah, I think because I do believe that Apollo kind of sees Meg as a little bit of like his own daughter or someone he needs to be protective of. I do assume that he will have to try and help her, which is not something that he would probably do at the beginning of the book because he was very much like he wasn't a plastic character, if that makes sense. Like he was very one-dimensional, and I feel like he would just cast her aside or something like that. But now that he actually got his like humanity back in a way, yeah, Meg is starting to see who Nero really is. He's going to burn and level Long Island, I said. Then he'll make it his private domain, just like he did with Rome. As soon as I light these stakes, our human torches will send a wave of fire straight through the gateway. Nothing will be able to stop it. The entire forest will burn. Oh my gosh, this line, you don't want to wake the beast, do you? Yeah, that's so toxic. It takes a village, people to protect your mind. YMCA, yeah. Like that's literally this chapter. Oh, this part is difficult to tell. I'm a natural storyteller. I have an infallible instinct for drama. I want to relate what should have happened. How I leaped forward shouting no and spun like an acrobat, knocking aside the lit match, then twisted in a series of blazing fast Shaolin moves. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. Cracking Nero's head and taking out his bodyguards before they could recover. And yes, that would have been perfect. Also, alas, the truth constrains me. Curse you through. The real hero was Peaches. Okay, so of course the only hero is Peaches. Like, who else? But yeah, that's really cute. Oh, I like this line. I remembered how my father used to punish me centuries ago when I was a young god learning the ways of Olympus. Zeus used to say, "Don't get on the wrong side of my lightning bolts, boy." As if the lightning bolt had a mind on its own, as if Zeus had nothing to do with the punishment he meted out on me. Don't blame me, his tone implied. It's the lightning bolt that seared every molecule in your body. Then years later, when I killed the Cyclops who made Zeus's lightning, it was no rash decision. I'd always hated those lightning bolts. It was easier than hating my father. Nero took the same tone when he referred to himself as the Beast. He spoke of his anger and cruelty as if they were forces outside of his control. If he flew into a rage, well then he would hold Meg responsible. The realization sickened me. Meg had been trained to regard her kindly stepfather Nero and the terrifying beast as two separate people. I understood now why she preferred to spend her time in the alleys of New York. I understood why she had such quick mood changes, going from cartwheels to full shutdowns in a matter of seconds. She never knew what might unleash the beast. Yeah, that's so domestic violence coded. And I think, obviously, Rick always tells stories from different types of students or like different types of backgrounds that a student or like a child in this age might encounter. And I think it's really important to read this and to realize, like, I remember in my January's reading wrap up, I read The Media from Rosie Hewlett, I think that's her surname. And it was really interesting, like, when you're reading and you're realizing how the protagonist herself is kind of realizing the manipulation that is happening around her and how her lover is manipulating her. And I had these moments where I had like flashbacks to things that happened to me where I actually, like when someone would talk to me in that way and I wouldn't clock it until like years later, right? And I think it's really important to read books like that and to realize that you might be in this situation, to realize what the situation is like and maybe try and seek help on how to get out of it. And especially in when you're a child, like I think you might think that these things are normal, but now hearing from Apollo's point of view, like these things were normal and you shouldn't be brought up like that, might help these kids to maybe explain their family situation to a teacher or to some kind of authority that they can trust, which is extremely important because you don't really get to know a lot as a teacher about your students, and the only things you know is what they tell you, because you really don't have much information from like parents and stuff. And those things, like what's happening inside of the family, it can be pretty brutal, and you need to be aware. So I'm really glad that it has been said here, and that it's actually like properly said here. Okay, I'm at the end of chapter 36, and I was kind of hoping, because Apollo mentioned, by the way, they're at the camp and they're fighting the Nero's, how is it called? The statue, the bronze statue. I was kind of hoping, even though Nero said that he would really wish Percy was there to help them, I was kind of hoping that he wouldn't, because I would just kind of want to see someone else to step up, or to show that, because realistically, Percy is gonna die eventually, or he's just gonna be too old to fight these demons and monsters and problems. So, I would just wish that we could deal with this on our own, and I hope it's gonna happen soon, because obviously you have Nico in at the camp, and I know that now at the current moment where I'm reading, he's kind of indisposed because he had to shadow travel, but I hope he's gonna be able to kind of take Percy's place, because I think in a way he is even more powerful. Like he has a lot of amazing powers, and also he's an incredibly good swordsman. Is that a word? So yeah, I hope it's gonna happen soon. I love Percy. I adore Percy. But I'm kind of excited for the new generations to come in, because Percy has been doing this for, I don't know, many years. I don't even know how old he was when he started, and I don't know how old he is now, but it is getting closer to a decade, I think. So yeah, I just love Mrs. O'Leary. Like, she's just a little puppy. She got scared of heights and she peed herself. Like, it's just so cute. By the way, we have a new puppy at our house. Like, he's 5 months old. So this is just comical. Odious green mist now wreathed the arrow. It smelled faintly of fast food deep fryers, a good sign that it carried some sort of horrible melody. Okay, our boy Leo is in the house. Oh, that's amazing. I mean, it was pretty obvious that he's gonna come back, because they were talking so much about him. But it's still really great that that's finally happening. Oh, and they have a cue for punching Cleo. That's deserved. Man, why does it not surprise me that the modern corporation are run by zombie Roman emperors? I mean, currently with what's happening with the files, I feel like zombie Roman emperors would be a better option. But yeah. Okay, so Leo's probably gonna be Apollo's companion, and he's gonna be like his, I wanted to say chaperone, but that's not gonna be the case. It looks like Calypso is mortal now, which I think I knew. Sometimes I read fanfiction, so I knew that. Okay, so we officially ended um, this book. I'm not gonna read the first chapter of the next book, even though it is included in the back. I think it makes sense for Rick to pair Apollo with Leo, and especially with Calypso, because she's now mortal, which means that he has kind of like a kindred spirit and someone that he can kind of look up to. I mean, even in the last chapter, it was kind of like he's deciding to take on Calypso's spirit in a way that, like, she's about to live life to the fullest, even though it might be really short. And he's kind of going through that as well, and realizing I guess, the beauty of mortal life. And yeah, I think that's a really good pairing, and that's something that he will need. So yeah, so the Hidden Oracle, the next book is called The Dark Prophecy, which I have at my grandparents' house, but it's Tuesday now, and I'll be with them on Saturday. So in a couple of days, I'll be able to get to the second part of this, and I think I will finish it in a weekend because yesterday I started around this time rereading this, and it's done. So, and I had to go to school and stuff like that. So over the weekend, I could read at least one of these books for sure. And yeah, I can't wait to actually get into this because this first book, it wasn't as action-packed as Percy Jackson, but it also makes sense because we're introducing a new character, a new perspective that we haven't seen before. And like it was still really entertaining because I love the silliness of Apollo. It's the same as like Percy is the snarky one, so Apollo is the silly one, and it's just fun to read. Those are like really cute dialogues, and his uh, train of thoughts. I have enjoyed that a lot, but I can't wait to actually get to the like the nitty gritty and the action packed stuff. Also, I'm quite surprised. I don't fully remember, but I feel like this is like a really short book. And I think all of them are similar size. I have the whole series, right? And I remember that they're all kind of similar size. So I think it's going to be a really easy read, but still. And by the way, this is what I hate about paperbacks because it looks like this, but I couldn't find another version that would be in English here in Czech Republic. So kind of annoying. But let me know what you guys thought. I hope you're going to enjoy the next video and the second book. And yeah, let me know what you thought about this book if you read it and how it compares to Percy Jackson or Hero of Olympus to you, because for me so far, I don't think it's gonna be my favorite out of the three. Like I think it's gonna be my least favorite, but it's still really enjoyable, and like I could read anything from Rick and I think I would love it. Like I could read Christian book from him and I would enjoy it, and I'm definitely not Christian. So nor do I like really enjoy anything about that. So yeah, very happy about this one. I think it's a fun little one, and I can't wait to get more of like Leo and these characters. And I hope we're gonna see the rest of the seven. Like I really want to get to Frank and Hazel. I love them. Like they're one of my favorite pairings. Um, and yeah, I just want our cute little panda. I know what they're up to. So that's for this one. Hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll be very, very happy to see you probably with the, I don't know, there's gonna be February's wrap up for sure. And then probably the next video that you're gonna see is gonna be the, how was it called? The Dark Prophecy, the reading log. So have a wonderful day, and I'll be happy to see you in the next one. Bye, guys.